Well, hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. Wanted to come to you this morning with a Friday Reads. Yeah, I know, it's Sunday. I'm a little bit late. Sorry about that. This week has been kind of busy at school, and I just didn't get the time to do the videos and do my reading at the same time. So I chose reading over videos this time. So I apologize for that, but anyway, better late than never. That's what I've always heard anyway. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about my reading life, what's been going on, and then just what's going on in life in general. So this week, I've been kind of keeping you guys up to date what we're doing in class, and so at school my sixth grade kids have been they just started a new unit on natural resources, and we've been building or doing a little project, and I gave them a product, so like a car, a house, a set of clothes, and each group got one of the products, and within the group they had to look at the product and figure out various stages of that product, and they had to basically take it backwards until they found the natural resources that were being used. And so, just to give you an example, the kids that had a house, maybe they're looking at the walls within the house and it's made of wood, so they had to go backwards to the the lumber yard, backwards to the lumber mill, backwards to the timber in the forest. And so and then they had to look at all of the stages to get that from a raw material all the way into a finished product. And so we've been working on that the last couple days, and they're finding out that there are actually a lot of jobs that are within those various stages along the way. And that's what I was wanting them to see, because after Christmas we're going to do a unit, an economics unit, and we're going to look at just jobs and making money and supply, demand, and all that kind of stuff, unemployment versus employment. And so that's going to help us in that endeavor. And my seventh grade's been working on getting a war started again, and so they're getting ready to look at World War II. And so this week we were looking at Japanese aggression in East Asia and the invasion of Manchuria and China, and then we were looking at Italy and its aggressive movements towards Ethiopia and Mussolini's role in that. And we looked at the Spanish Civil War and how that played out. And then on, was it Thursday, Friday, we were looking at the aggressive movements of Adolf Hitler in Germany. And we actually started a DBQ on appeasement. And so we're going to look at how, we've been looking at how Europe, with its fear of another world war, failed to step in and stop all of those aggressive movements. And so that's what we've been looking at in World War II, and the kids are really enjoying that. And in my eighth grade class, of course, that's an American history class, and we have been doing a DBQ over the Boston Massacre. And we're building up towards revolution. We're just about ready to get a war started there. And we've been looking at the roles of propaganda and just the tensions between the British subjects and the colonials. And it's been kind of interesting because the kids always want to, say Americans versus British. And I'm like, no, they're all British. You can't call them Americans yet. You can't call it the United States. And so I'm kind of pounding that idea in their head right now that this is going to be a civil war. It's not just us versus them, And so that's been a lot of fun. And I've been seeing the wheels spinning, and the kids or the gears are moving, I guess, not spinning. Not the wheels aren't spinning, getting nothing done. The gears are moving, getting something done. So that's been good. And then my high school class that I teach, my world history class, we've been looking at the later stages of the Middle Ages, and we just got to looking at the plague. We've been looking at, of course, before that we were looking at the development of towns and the middle class, and how as the people moved to town for trade and all of that, that created that the crowded areas, which allowed for the plague to just spread like wildfire. And so we're going to do a DBQ on Monday over the plague, and so that's been good. So anyway, that's what's been going on at school. We also, our governor, she extended some of or a lot of the limitations on the state for COVID, but she opened up the youth sports, and we basically have the same rules that the high school has, that each kid is only allowed 2 spectators in to watch a game, and so we were able to start games up again. And so Friday we went and played for the first time in a month, and my 8th grade group won by 30 points, and so that was a nice win. They played very, very well to move to 2-0 on the season, and hopefully we'll get a couple more games in this week before the season ends. So COVID has really been has really decimated our season, and we've got a really good 8th grade squad, so that was kind of disappointing, but that's life, and so we're learning to deal with it. But that's what's been going on. My daughter just got done taking her ACT tests yesterday. That's why I couldn't get a video made yesterday, because I was watching the 3-year-old, and she's loud and obnoxious, and there was no video going to get done during that time. But she went and took her ACT, and she felt pretty good about it, and so hopefully that all turns out well. And we also, this last Wednesday, got a college visit in, and that was real enjoyable. Although when we went, we got to tour the campus and see the buildings, and of course the students are on vacation, on winter vacation right now, and so it was pretty much empty. There was a few administration people in some of the buildings, but there was no students anywhere. And we were supposed to have a visit with the police academy, because she wants to be a police officer, and she's going to go through their police program. And that was kind of disappointing, because the person that was supposed to, the 2 people that could have given us more of a heads up on what's going on and gave us a little tour of that area, well, they both came down with COVID. So the whole thing was shut down on that side of things. So we got to go back again. But oh well, that's all right. So that's been kind of my life as far as outside of reading. So let's talk about reading. I've been working on just little by little John Grisham's A Time for Mercy. Good book so far. I did not read it the second half of the week, and so I didn't get as far as I probably could have, because I was reading some other stuff. But I got, 62 pages in, so I got a good start, and it is basically about this young man who, and this is a Jake Bridges novel again. It is the 3rd Jake Bridges novel. If you remember earlier in John Grisham's career, he wrote A Time to Kill, and then the one that I just got done reading was Sycamore Row, and both of those, that's book 1 and book 2, and this is book 3 of the Jake Bridges novels. And I really like his character. He's kind of interesting. I don't want to say a whole lot, because I don't want to ruin, I want to do a book review, and I don't want to ruin that, but the story overall is there is I think he's 16-year-old boy and his sister, and they got the same mom, different dads, and then the mother, who has led a rough life and had several different men in her life, and she's latched on to this police officer there in Clanton, and he has some violence issues, some drinking issues, and he tends to beat the mother. And basically what sets the whole story up is the son, the mother, the police officer came home, he was off duty, came home after drinking, was just drunk, and took it out on the mom, and shattered her jaw by punching her, and she was completely knocked out on the floor. And then he went and passed out. The kids came out of the bedroom when they thought it was safe, and they thought their mom was dead. And the son goes in, pulls out the officer's service revolver, and shoots him dead. And so now he is basically getting ready to be put on trial, and Jake Bridges is given the case. And so that's about as far as I've gotten. But we're going through that whole issue of this case is kind of an open and shut case as far as murder goes, and you want to know how is Jake going to get the kid off of the murder charges, is what you're thinking in your head here. And of course he is questioning whether to take this, because does he want to alienate the people of the county, because he's got another case in the wings where he's just waiting on his trial, and there's supposed to be money coming. And of course we get into the life of Jake Bridges, who in earlier novels, his house got burnt to the ground. He had an old Victorian beautiful house, and it got burnt to the ground, and he's been living in rentals that are not really great houses at all, really. But he's looking at buying this big house in town for dirt cheap, hopefully. And so we get this whole storyline of Jake and his life, and then just this big case that's coming up. And so that's good so far. Like I said, I'm only 62 pages in, but it's a pretty fast read. I just got to sit down and read it. I hadn't read it since the very beginning of the week. And then yesterday, I picked this book back up throughout the afternoon and got to reading, and it's really good so far. It's called The Great Alone by Kristin, Hanna. And I don't know if you guys have all read this, but I would recommend this book. I am, let's see, how far am I? Oh man, 62 pages, same as the other book. That's funny. But anyway, I'm 62 pages in on this one, and this is about a Vietnam vet who comes home. He had been put into a POW camp and just experienced some really, really bad stuff. And his best friend through the war was killed in the POW camp, and he comes out alive. But it's really more from his daughter's perspective, and the daughter and the wife, they have to deal with the PTSD issues, and the dad is the veteran has a lot of drinking problems because of his experience. He has flashbacks and all kinds of stuff going on. And haven't seen any of the flashbacks yet, but they've talked about that he has them. But he's been going from job to job because he can't hold down a job. And drinking is an issue, so there's a lack of money there. But the wife is really sticking by him. She loves him and wants to see him better. And the daughter is, I think, 13, and she's struggling with this. You know, her dad uprooting their life all the time. She's constantly moving from school to school, and of course kids that age, they need to kind of have a set structure and build those close friendships that they'll need as they get into high school, and she's struggling with that. But it just came up that best friend that passed away, his dad had wrote to the dad and said that my son wrote about you all the time, and he said so many good things about you. We have his land and his cabin here in Alaska, and we would like to give it to you for being such a great friend to our kid. And so yesterday I was reading about they moved to Alaska, and they're starting they're basically starting over. And they're hoping that this is going to be the answer. And they've been fixing up this cabin because it's rough. We'll just keep it at that. And it's been neat seeing the community. It's a small community they live in, and they're all coming and saying, you need to get ready for winter. I mean, and it's only like May, I think, when they're there, and they're like, you need to get ready for winter. You need to start stockpiling now, get everything ready, because the winters here are very long and very hard. And so anyway, that's about as far as I've gotten, and we'll see. The daughter just made a good friend at school who's a boy, and so we'll see how that all plays out. But good book so far. And then earlier this week, or throughout the week, and then this morning, I've been reading Volume 1 of James Thomas Flexner's biography, four-volume biography on George Washington, and this one's The Forge of Experience, 1732 to 1775, which is basically taking him from his birth all the way up to the eve of Revolution. And I am 188 pages in on this one. I'm on chapter 15, and I was kind of on a roll this morning, but I wanted to get a video out to you. But it basically, I started this morning right after they're in the French and Indian War, and yesterday I was reading about Fort Necessity and all that kind of stuff that happened, and this just went through the rest of the French and Indian War basically, and he is about ready to meet Martha. And so I think that's the next chapter. The next chapter is Adventures of the Heart. So I'm pretty sure this is where he meets Martha, his future wife. And so this has been really good. I now know why everybody in their sources, their bibliographies, always refer back to this. And I'm very glad that I took the time to buy these. It's been very good. It is... The flow of the writing is not quite what, like I call it, like historians today write more like journalists because they want a really good story that flows. He doesn't necessarily have the exact same flow, but it is very approachable, very readable. And I've been enjoying this. I really like how Flexner sets up in this first volume. The stuff that's going on in the French and Indian War is teaching Washington valuable lessons for later on when the Revolution happens. He is writing this story like I teach my class. I always do a really big cause and effect, and learning from your mistakes and stuff like that. That's how I teach my kids in class when I'm talking about Washington and from the French and Indian War to the Revolution. And Flexner does a good job of that, and he's also not just like going goo goo gaga over Washington. He's telling the facts and he's giving the goods, but he's also giving all of the bads. The mistakes that Washington's making and how he alienates people during the French and Indian War, which is possibly why he never got his British commission in the regular army. And man, how history would have changed if he would have gotten that. That would have been interesting. But anyway, Flexner's doing a good job telling the story of the father of our nation, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And if I'd really get going on this, I definitely could finish it this week, but I'm not going to promise you that because I thought I was going to do that last week and got sidetracked. But anyway, all three of these books are really good reading right now. I'd recommend any of them. And thoroughly enjoying this. I hope everyone's having a great week, having a great day. I don't know how everybody else is in the nation. We got snow yesterday, early yesterday morning, and so we had about that much snow on the ground. Had to go shovel some snow, but everybody's safe. So the trip my daughter took to go take her ACTs, we were kind of worried if it was going to be slick, so my wife took her, but she said it wasn't slick at all, so that's good. So I hope everybody is safe, healthy, and looking forward to Christmas and looking forward to a new year, and we can start over, right? Get 2020 behind us. I can't wait till that happens. But anyway, hope everybody's enjoyed this video. I hope you are getting a lot of reading in. So anyway, till next time, BookTube, have a great day and happy reading.